Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live stream today. I've got a special guest today, Van Mitchell. And today we're going to be just doing a quick preview of the Super Bowl for tomorrow. The Cincinnati Bengals versus the LA Rams playing in LA. So let's get on with a little bit of details and let's start. So tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern time is going to be the second Super Bowl ever to be played at home, played in SoFi Stadium for the LA Rams. And this season, the Bengals and Rams had pretty good runs. Their total records this year, the Bengals went 13-7, and the Rams went 15. Um, so they both played. They both had pretty good seasons. Neither teams have lost in the playoffs, obviously, this year. So they've had good runs in the last couple weeks, but each team has played well. The Rams have played 4 Super Bowls. They've gone 1-3 in Super Bowls, and the Bengals have gone 0-2 in Super Bowls. So they've both had okay runs in the Super Bowl, but the Bengals are going to try to get their first Super Bowl ever. So Van, I guess, what do you think gonna happen in this game? What are you looking into in this game?
Well, I do look forward to a really entertaining game. It's been. I look back at the divisional playoffs, the conference championships, just amazing, amazing games. We got to see pretty much nail biters in every game, big comeback or two, and close them out. So it's been an exceptional postseason in the NFL, and I look forward to the Super Bowl continuing to make for some high quality entertainment. Yeah, I look at two really good teams, both with some strengths and both with some downsides to them, and I think that they should match up nicely. Um, we can when you're ready, we can talk about individuals and specifics and whatnot. But I do look forward to a really good football game.
Yeah, we can do our picks a little later. But yeah, Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford, this is both their first times going to the Super Bowl, and both of them had their first playoff wins ever this year. So they've done a great job and they've helped their teams out a lot. Um But the Rams haven't been to a Super Bowl in 2 years, and I think they have 6 players that did go to the Super Bowl that are still on their team now. And the Bengals only have 1, I think, and also, their coach, Zach Taylor, was, the quarterback coach for the Rams, when they did go to the Super Bowl, and, he was Jared Goff's coach, and they had a tough run against the Patriots, so, he's gonna be ready to go out there and do a good job with them. Okay, so Joe Burrow, I'm just gonna go over a little bit of statistics. Joe Burrow, this regular season had 34 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and 108.3 quarterback rating. So he had a good season, overall, and he did a good job. And then 2 weeks ago against the Chiefs, he threw for 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, and he's 14 for 19 on passing. So he did a good job last week against the great Chiefs defense. And then the Rams. So the Rams versus the 49ers, their defense, they allowed 7.7 yards per average and 87.1 rate. So that'll be big to see. We'll see if Joe gets tackled a lot. If he gets sacked, this game won't last long for the Bengals. They won't score too many points if there is a bunch of injuries, or I mean a bunch of sacks or bad things like that. But they're also missing CJ Ozuma, the Bengals are, and the Rams are missing Tyler Higbee. So those are big tight end injuries that they have for there. But Van, what do you think about Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar Chase?
I think that'll be a great matchup. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Ramsey, he vocalized it that he wants Jamar Chase. So he wants to take on their number one receiver. The really nice thing about the Bengals is that they've got other weapons. They've got some really good receivers. That if Ramsey does such a good job of tying him up, that Joe Burrow's got some other really good options to go to. But I think Jamar Chase is going to sneak past him a few times and go for 80 to 90 yards today or tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be cool to see, with T. Higgins and Joe Mixon having their strengths against, the big defense, but yeah, it's pretty much the worst offensive line versus the best defensive line, over there, but last week, the O-line for the Bengals did an amazing job. They played great, and they only allowed 1 sack and 4 quarterback hits in the whole game, and the week before, they allowed 9 sacks or something like that to the Titans, so hopefully it's not
Yeah.
a Titan game, hopefully it's a Chiefs game, for the Bengals.
Yeah, absolutely. The trenches there, you look back on so many of the Super Bowls in the past, they're won on defense and trenches. It's rarely an offensive superstar show, it seems like. Defense and trenches is where Super Bowls tend to come down to. And yeah, if you'd have told me a couple weeks ago that in the Titans game that Joe Burrow would get sacked 9 times, I'd have said they won't even be within 20 points of the Titans. It's just unreal to think that he was sacked 9 times and they still won. As far as I know, that's the first time that's ever happened for that many sacks. So Joe is a sneaky guy. He's really good at getting out of there. But if your offensive line doesn't show up against these Rams, then Joe's going to have a tough go.
Yeah, yeah, Joe Burrow last week against the Chiefs had about 30 yards rushing, I think, he got a couple scrambles away, and, but he is gonna have to deal with Aaron Donald and Von Miller for the first time because, they're 2 of the biggest stars in the NFL on defense, and, they weren't playing against superstars, in the game against the Chiefs. So Aaron Donald's had in the last 8 games, he's had 7 sacks, and Von Miller's had 7 sacks in the last 7 games. So both of them are kind of on fire right now with sacks. And hopefully Jonah Williams, the left tackle for the Bengals, can hold out against both those guys. So yeah, we'll see what happens there, and hopefully there isn't too many mistakes on the Bengals side. The Rams defense, they've had 1 plus takeaway in the last 10 straight games. So hopefully Joe does a good job. He did throw an interception against the Chiefs, but it'll totally matter on pressure. If he gets pressured a lot, he's gonna have a tough time against the Rams defense. So
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I I think Aaron Donald. He's going to be amped up. Von Miller. I remember watching him in the Super Bowl. There, just completely destroy Cam Newton and get in the way of his Super Bowl win. So two really tough guys, but I mean they've got other guys on that line and a really good defense. So it's a tough go for sure.
yeah. Yeah. So we are talking a lot about the Rams defense, but last week against the Chiefs, that Bengals defense was so good. I don't know that I think that was the best defense the Chiefs have played all season long, and it was a great matchup to see Patrick Mahomes versus Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals or defensive line. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, I when I watch that game, anytime you see Patrick Mahomes having some pressure and start running around back there, it you know it's going to end up with a successful play for the Chiefs because when Patrick Mahomes gets running, it allows his receivers, Tyreek Hill, exceptionally fast to get open, Kelsey to get open, and it was every time he was scrambling against the Bengals, I thought, oh, he's going to go for it, and he couldn't find anybody open. So the camera doesn't show it a lot, but the defensive backs for the Bengals played exceptionally well to keep Patrick Mahomes from throwing those open passes while scrambling around. So I'll totally agree. I was super impressed with the Bengals backfield defense.
Yeah, yeah. The Bengals defense only allowed Tyreek Hill to 7 receptions, 78 yards and 1 touchdown. So that's like I don't know, like a season low for Tyreek Hill, and to hold him to only 7 receptions, that's really good. And now they're playing against Cooper Cup, so um that'll be it'll be a really good matchup Tyreek Hill and Cooper Cup are two of the best receivers in the NFL right now, but we'll see what happens. It's Chidobe Awuzie versus Cooper Cup, so it's not one of those superstar matchups, but Chidobe Awuzie is pretty good. Um, he's a good cornerback and he does a good job usually. And then they'll have Eli Apple, Jesse Bates on the field too to help stop OBJ, Cooper Cup, and the rest of the offense that comes out against them.
Yeah, for sure. I look forward to seeing OBJ out there. There was a time where it was looking pretty poor for him in his career, making some bad decisions and making some headlines for the wrong reasons. So it's nice to see him doing well and being a team player, making some good catches again. So yeah, they'll have their hands full with him, and he was a big time help for the Rams when Woods went out with his ACL injury. So big addition to get OBJ there. It'll be fun to see how they can guard him at the same time as the superstar Cooper Cup.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see OBJ play in another. I think this will be like his fourth playoff game ever. Is definitely his first Super Bowl ever. So he's gonna be ready to play out there, and it'll be cool to see Cooper Cup and OBJ trying to catch passes against the what was good, and hopefully they continue to be good. Um, Bengals defense. So yeah. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit more about Cooper Cup. This season he's had 145 receptions, 1,947 yards, and 17 touchdowns. So that's super good, and he led the NFL in receptions, touchdowns, and yards this season as a wide receiver. So he did an amazing job. And then just in the last two playoff games against the Cardinals and the 49ers, he's gotten 140 plus yards in each game. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard for the Bengals to do a good job against these guys. But like we already said, 78 yards for Tyreek Hill to get. If they can hold Cooper Cup to less than 100 yards, they're probably going to win. And they also have to stop OBJ from getting those long catches too. But if they can hold off Cooper Cup, this game's over.
Yeah, yeah. Cooper Cup's been had an amazing season, one of the best receiving seasons in the history of the NFL. He got, like you mentioned, what's called the triple crown: the most catches, the most yards, the most touchdowns. That's rarely ever been done. And if you watch him on the field, he does. He figures out where to get open. He figures out where to find that hole. And if you watch him, he's really similar to the quarterback. When you watch the quarterbacks starting the play, they're looking over the defense and analyzing what formation they're in and try to guess what they're going to do. Cooper Cup's over there doing the same thing. So it's like a quarterback on the receiver position when you watch him with his intelligence and then his athletics and catching ability. So absolutely, it's fun to watch guys like that who are at the top of their game.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Cooper Cup and OBJ, they wouldn't have had all those yards if it weren't for Matthew Stafford. And last week, Matthew Stafford against the 49ers had 337 yards, two touchdowns, threw an interception, and he had a 96.3 QB rate. So he did a good job last week against an amazing 49ers defense who the week before played the Packers and stopped Aaron Rodgers totally. So um, he showed he was a better player against the Niners 2 weeks ago. So he did a good job. But as we go back to talk a little bit more about the Bengals defense, Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard against the Chiefs just kept pressuring and pressuring Patrick Mahomes throughout the whole game. And like you said, Patrick Mahomes kept getting away and running, but Matthew Stafford isn't the runner really. And he might not get away in some of these plays, but Trey Hendrickson versus the Chiefs had a sack and a half, five pressures, and Sam Hubbard had two sacks and five pressures. So together they had a bunch of pressures, and they demolished Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. They did an outstanding job against a good offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I look forward to seeing what they can do against that Rams offensive line. Because you're right, Matthew Stafford, he's not the scrambler that that Patrick Mahomes was for sure. And on Matthew Stafford, like I'm really excited for him. He's a really good guy. He's been a really good influence and a good example for being a good, smart, upright kind of player there in the NFL for quite a while now. I remember watching him play in college there with Georgia and being impressed with him then. It was one of those deals where a number one draft pick goes to a really poor team. So it was always hard to see Matthew Stafford putting up big numbers all year long and then never make it to the playoffs and with the Detroit Lions. So excited for him. He's played one season away from the Lions and he's in the Super Bowl. So he is a Super Bowl caliber player. And so yeah, really excited for him. One of those where you wish everybody could win because it's neat to see Joe Burrow just coming on strong. And I'm sure we'll talk about him in a moment. But excited for Matthew Stafford to be there.
Yeah, yeah, Joe Burrow, just like you said, Matthew Stafford has had 1 season away from the Lions, and here he is in the Super Bowl. Well, we know Joe Burrow got the Comeback Player of the Year award in the NFL honors a couple nights ago. And yeah, 1 year ago, he had torn ligaments in his legs, and he was looking like it was just going to be a rough next couple years because they had a terrible season. They won like 2 games. In the whole season. And now Joe comes back this year, and like I said, 13-7 record, and here they are in the Super Bowl. So it's awesome to see. Just been in the NFL 2 years, and Jamar Chase been in the NFL. This is his rookie year, and it's great to see them playing together in the Super Bowl as they were teammates in LSU. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Those 2 are fun to watch. And Joe Burrow, it's just something to watch that. Like I'd mentioned with Cooper Cup, it's so fun to watch somebody who's at the top of their game and somebody who's so great at what they do. And Joe Burrow, I mean, being a couple of years in, this is the best that a number one draft pick has ever made it to the Super Bowl because they're put on the worst team in the NFL, right? Takes a lot of rebuilding to get there, and to have Joe Burrow there in just a couple of years, it's really neat to see and just the confidence he has. You and I watched him in the national championship just a few years ago, and that's one of the few national championships where ahead of the game it was an easy pick. LSU is going to win. That offense was amazing, and Joe Burrow with the best season college quarterback season ever among a lot of amazing quarterbacks. It's something special to watch a guy like that.
Yeah, yeah, Joe, he's done amazing this year, but in the regular season, well, I guess in the whole season, he has had the most sacks taken this year, 51 sacks, which is terrible. It's the most in the NFL by far. And when you've coming into a Super Bowl with the most sacks in the whole NFL, and you're going against the Rams defense who has 50 sacks in the season, and it just yeah, you've gotta be careful, and that line, they've had a couple injuries, lately, I think, so they've gotta be ready to go out there and prepare to either get destroyed by Aaron Donald and Von Miller or play a really good game against them, and hopefully Joe, doesn't get hit, well, hopefully he doesn't get hit at all, but hopefully he doesn't get hit a lot, because this is gonna be really hard for him, and he knows what it's like to get hit, because he had that terrible injury last year, and he's gonna want to get rid of the ball. So hopefully he doesn't get pressured too fast and throw interceptions and make mistakes like that. So he's gonna have to watch out.
Yeah, yeah, that's the worst combination you can have as a quarterback is to be playing against a super strong defensive front and have a bit of a weakness on your offensive line because then that means the Rams might not have to do a whole lot of blitzing because they're going to get to him with the line, which then is going to leave another 2 or 3 guys in the backfield, making it even harder to make some passes. So I really hope that Zach Taylor's got some good protection designed for Joe Burrow, whether he brings in a running back or an extra lineman, forgets the tight end, whatever it is. I really hope he's going to give him some good protections. Otherwise, we're going to see a lot of screen plays, a lot of screen passes, and quick routes. Which again, if they're not blitzing, they don't go for very far.
Mhm. Yeah, Yeah, well, we haven't really talked about Jamar Chase at all a lot, and um, he against the Chiefs, he was playing against really good defense, and he got 9 targets, receptions, 54 yards, and he ended up pulling up a touchdown. And he had a great game against them. And in this regular season, he had 81 receptions, 13 touchdowns, and 1,455 yards. So he pulled out a lot of good plays for a rookie, and he did a fabulous job with them. And then T. Higgins versus the Chiefs, he almost doubled Jamar Chase in yards. He didn't get a touchdown, but he had 10 targets, 6 receptions, and 103 yards against the Chiefs, and that's really good. And yeah, it came up with Joe getting lots of yards, and it's gonna have to come up with Joe making good decisions and not throwing the ball high or out of bounds when he shouldn't be, um, and having good decisions. But also, last week the running backs, Joe Mixon and Perrine, they had 70 yards and a touchdown mixed together against the Chiefs. So their running game was pretty good. Um, and it's gonna be really tough to be able to run through a defense so good like the Rams. So hopefully they can have a run game if the pass game doesn't work as well in the first half or whatever like that. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Watching Jamar Chase is also a really fun to watch him go. Very athletic. That he had that one game there over 200 yards this year. You don't see that very often. So real powerful tool for the Bengals for sure. And then Joe Mixon, really nice to have him in the backfield, out catching passes. Very versatile player. So yeah, they've got some great weapons. And I mean, they beat the number one and number two team in the AFC at their when the Bengals were on the road. So they've definitely got what it takes to win tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, like you just said, I hadn't really thought of that. They beat the number one team, the number two team when they were away. They know how to win apparently when they're away, and they're going to play in the big loud town of LA. Um, it's gonna be it. I don't know if they are good against crowds. It'll be good because there's so many Rams fans. There's gonna be so many Rams fans in that SoFi Stadium, and there's not too many Bengals fans out there, but hopefully they can get out there and start celebrating with the team and going to the Super Bowl. And I also heard that Matthew Stafford, OBJ, and relatives of theirs are actually selling tickets out to people so they can have a big crowd. And that's what they tried to do against the Niners, and there was lots of Niners fans in LA Stadium. But yeah, hopefully the Bengals can have a good amount of fans there that can help them out, cheer for them in that big game. So hopefully the Bengals can get their first Super Bowl win.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch. It's been a long time since they've seen some success in that town with the Bengals. So it'll be a real fun game to watch for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's been 33 years since they went to the Super Bowl, and the Rams haven't been to the Super Bowl in 2 years, but the Bengals have never won a Super Bowl, so, um, they're gonna be ready to come out there and play tomorrow and, do a good job. But also Aaron Donald, he wants a Super Bowl so bad, as the Patriots and only allowing Tom Brady, to score 13 points in that low scoring Super Bowl game. He's gonna want to see. He's gonna want to have a ring on his finger at the end of tomorrow. So he's gonna be fighting hard. But Joe Burrow and all the Bengals, they are gonna fight hard for this one because they know um, the Bengals fans everywhere want a Super Bowl. So hopefully, yeah, it's like you said, we want both teams to win the Super Bowl, but only one team can really win. And if the Rams lose, it's gonna hurt them because they have no draft picks. They have no money for I think till 2025 or 2024. So they've run out of options, and if they lose this, it's gonna be tough for them. But I was also thinking about the Bengals. This'll be hard for them if they lose, because I don't know if they'll be able to come back. They got to beat Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and whoever they fight against next year in the Super Bowl. If they do go, it'll be really hard for them to go to a Super Bowl again. So this is their year if they want to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah, that's certainly a good point there, and an argument to make. Like the Rams, they were preseason favorites on a lot of books to go to the Super Bowl because they're pretty much they bet the house on this season and on this team, put all their chips on the table for this one. Whereas the Bengals, not a lot of people really thought they'd make it this far, other than themselves, I think. But you're exactly right. Like, they've got a lot of young talent. They got a lot of good future ahead of them. But you're right. It's going to have to go through Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It's going to have to go through Josh Allen and the Bills. It's going to go through Lamar Jackson and the Ravens and maybe the Chargers. You name it. It's a tough conference. So there can't be a whole lot in sports worse than walking away from the Super Bowl as the loser, but somebody's going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, well, that's the cool thing about the NFL, and the NBA, MLB, NHL. They play first one to get four wins is the champion of it all. In the NFL, you have what is it? An hour of clock running, and if you screw up 2 plays, that could be your season right there, and like, I've said before, the coin tosses in overtime can mess teams the whole season up too if they have problems like that, so hopefully they don't go I think it would be bad if they went to overtime because it always hurts, and that's how the Falcons-Patriots game was. They came back, and it came up to pretty much a coin toss, and the Patriots came out winning a great comeback game in overtime, so yeah.
You talking about a player too? You can ask the Green Bay Packers about that, right? You look back on their two special teams plays that completely. Aaron Rodgers did not play a good game, but their special teams is what really led to the loss for the Packers. And I think on that note, you got to look at this Cincinnati Bengals kicker. He is one cool-headed guy. He's not afraid of pressure, and that guy there this year, he's the highest scoring kicker in the NFL. So they've used him as a weapon and as a tool. They trust him, and going into a Super Bowl, being a Bills fan, we know all about missed field goals in big spots. And the Bengals, it can happen to anybody, but the Bengals have complete confidence in their kicker.
Yeah. Yeah, when you've got a rookie kicker who's done just a fabulous job. He hasn't missed a field goal, I don't think. Oh, I hope I didn't just jinx it there, but he hasn't missed a field goal yet, in the postseason. So hopefully, well, he should do a good job if they do have to depend on field goals, in the red zones or whatever. So
So
I
Henry, who are you going to be picking for this
yeah.
the winner here?
Yeah, so we've had 2 weeks to think about this, and I've gone over it and thought about it a couple of times, and I don't know. I think the Rams have done a great job this season, and I think it'll be really hard for the Bengals to win the Super Bowl this year. But it'll come down to how good Jamar Chase plays against Jalen Ramsey, how good the offensive line for the Bengals is, and how Chidobe Awu and just how the whole Bengals defense can play against Cooper Cup, OBJ, and Matthew Stafford. It'll just come down to how good the Bengals defense is and how they can play. And I just I think it'll be really tough. Yeah, it'll be tough for both teams to come out with the Super Bowl, but I know I know one thing, both teams are going to put their hardest into this game, as they've had 20 games this season each, and this is going to be the biggest game of their lives pretty much. And I think I am picking the Bengals to win the Super Bowl because um, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, the rest of the guys, they're so good. I picked them to pretty much lose by like 20 points against the Chiefs last week, and when they played just how good they were against the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs are better than the Rams. Were better than the Rams. Um, I think I've got to pick the Bengals to win this one. My score pick was 31-30. A really close game. Hopefully it doesn't come down to like a missed field goal or something for a team, because that's always hard to see. But it'll be a really close game in my opinion, and in order for the Bengals to win, they just have to play good job on both offense and defense, and the Rams can win, and they probably, will do a very good job, but if they screw up, if Matthew Stafford throws a pick six, if Cooper Kupp or OBJ fumbles in the wrong side of the field, then you can bet on the Bengals winning this game. So who do you pick to win the Super Bowl, and what do you think will happen?
Well, when I look at the game, exciting to see two number one picks, one after 12 or 13 years in the NFL, one after just a couple. I look at the Rams. The Rams are the ones who have the pressure to win here, and it's hard to play under pressure. The Bengals don't have any pressure. They got nothing to lose. So it's hard to bet against a guy who's going in there like Joe Burrow, who's been in big spots, national championship, Heisman Trophy winner, going for the Super Bowl, which I don't believe has ever been done for a quarterback or anybody to win the Heisman Trophy, the national championship, and the Super Bowl. And he's 60 minutes away from doing it. It's hard to go against all of those things. However, it's hard to go against the team who has the advantage in the trenches. Like I said at the beginning of this, if you own the trenches, you're going to win, with the exception of the Titans this year, who lost with getting 9 sacks. It's a rare exception. If you own the trenches, you're going to win the game. So with Aaron Donald, Von Miller on that line and going after it, I've got to say that I'm going to go ahead and pick the Rams. I would like to see the Bengals win, but I'd also like to see Matthew Stafford win. Sean McVay, he's been a really good guy in the sport. These guys, so I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm going to say 31-23. We're going to see a few field goals out of the Bengals, so we'll go 31-23 for the Rams to win this one.
Okay, yeah, that's you're picking them to win by more. So,
Mhm.
that'll be
Yeah,
yeah, it'll be
I think that defensive line is going to be tough, real tough on Joe Burrow. He's a magician, but I think it's just going to be too much.
yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Really anything could happen in this game. And the Bengals defense has gotten 2 interceptions, I think, in both their playoff games. Or in the last 2 playoff games they've played. And the reason why they beat the Titans was because of their defense, getting interceptions against Ryan Tannehill and ending the game. And maybe Derrick Henry was hurt, but they still stopped him very well. And they're going against Cam Akers, who has been the fumble guy for the last couple weeks in the playoffs. And
Good point.
yeah, like we said, one fumble can determine the whole game pretty much. If you screw up once, it can be the your Super Bowl right there at it slip out of your hands when you drop that ball. So Cam Akers has got to hold on to that ball, and he's gotta do a good job when he runs the ball. But we won't see as much running from the Rams probably, because the Bengals do have a very good rush defense. But we will see some rushing, and hopefully, since I picked the Bengals, hopefully the Bengals can stop Cam Akers from getting those big 10-yard plus plays.
Yeah, I agree. I hate to see a game end with an ugly play. I like to see a team just just outbeat. Like as bad as the Bills loss to the Chiefs was this year, sure the defense messed up. Sure, they probably should have squib kicked it there at the end, but at least it wasn't down to an ugly fumble or the worst thing is a penalty or a referee missing something. I just hate to see a good game end with those kinds of things. So yeah, hopefully it's not a real big mess up. It's just one team beating it.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it's good like that. Or you picked the Rams to win pretty heavily. But we could I don't know. The Bengals have been the comeback team lately. They were down a lot of points to the Chiefs both times they played them. And usually it's the Chiefs who are down by that like 18 points or whatever at halftime. And they did that. I will be prepared to see the Bengals down 21-3 at halftime, and I will be ready to see him come back and win the Super Bowl or something like that. So, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Getting excited. We'll have to go get our chicken wings and our treats ready for tomorrow afternoon. Looking forward to it.
yeah, it'll be exciting. So I guess we'll wrap it up. But thanks everyone for coming and watching our live stream, and hopefully whatever team does the best wins the game, and we'll have to talk later, I guess. So thanks everyone for watching, and thanks Van and doing the stream with us. So see you everybody.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Okay.